Good evening. I'm very glad to be here tonight, Baruch Hashem, in Borough Park. This lecture will be Leilui Nishmat, Isaac ben Sarah, Yeva bat Livko, and also for Shidduch, Agun, Lechol Am Israel, all the people that need Shidduchim, all the single boys and girls, all the divorced ones. They all should have, Bezrat Hashem, soon, a good Shidduch. The topic that you chose is to talk about Shidduchim, getting married for the wrong reasons. You know, you already know where it's going to. We don't have to be a super genius to know that the world today has a serious crisis when it comes to Shidduchim. It's among the Goyim, among the secular Jews, it's among the religious Jews, the modern, among the ultra-Orthodox Jews, regardless, Hasidim, Litaim, Sfaradim, everywhere you go, there is a serious problem. It's known that there are many thousands of single boys and girls, some of them already getting older than the usual age that they wanted to get married. Few years older, sometimes even 10 years older. And obviously the more time passes by, two things happen. Once a person gets depressed and broken. Well, you need to get a microphone, it's too big. I'm sorry. Yes, microphone, good. So, two things can happen when a boy or a girl is already getting older, another year and another year. They may get depressed and broken, and sometimes even lose hope. The problem with losing hope is that Hashem doesn't like it, and it only makes the situation worse. Now I want you to know, in life, when you make one mistake, one serious mistake, mistakes have consequences. One mistake leads to consequences. Something will happen. And after that something will happen, something else will happen. And after that something else will happen, something else will happen. Sometimes it can be a chain reaction, maybe you get closer a little bit, I don't know what to say. It's okay. Sometimes it's a chain reaction that by the time you already get after 5 or 6 steps, you don't even remember the root of the problem. You don't remember how it all started. So let's make it a little bit organized in our mind for us to understand. Every problem a religious person has in life, eventually, directly or indirectly, always come from one source. One source. What is the source? Lack of emunah and connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Not enough emunah. We all have emunah. Every person that sits in this shul tonight has emunah. Believes there is a God, believes He made the world, believes He gave us Torah in front of millions of witnesses, believe in a holy Gemara and the Rishonim and Shulchan Aruch, believes in Talmidei Chachamim, believes in many things that we all believe. But to believe in general, it's not enough. The belief and the confidence in Hashem has to be in a very high level. Because the rule is, the more you have confidence in Hashem, the more He will do for you. The more you question Him, the less He will do for you. It's very similar to math. Math always react the same, right? In math, it's always going to be the same results. Not one time like this and one time like that. Same thing with Hashem. Hashem does not go by moods or by fashion or by what people may think in this generation to say or not. He has Torah and He has the truth, and the truth will always remain the same. And one of the 13 principles of Judaism is this Torah will never be changed. Will never be changed. Doesn't matter, today we have high-tech and electronic, and today people dress different than 1,000 years ago. That's not relevant. The principles and the concepts of the Torah and Judaism remains always the same. 13 principles that apply to the Rambam applies today. 13 principles that apply to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai apply today. 13 principles that apply to Moshe Rabbeinu applies today. None of us is Moshe Rabbeinu. None of us is the generation that came out of Egypt, but it applies to every one of us equally. Same thing, it applies to the Shvatim and Moshe Rabbeinu and all the Gdolei Israel. Those are mathematical formulas. It always works the same. So the better you get, the more educated you are, the more you understand that there's nothing but Hashem, the better your chances are. That's the beginning point. Now, because many of us don't have emunah, how do you know if you have emunah or no when it comes to details? I say, general emunah everyone has, even the goyim has. Every Arab has emunah in Hashem. Every Arab knows Hashem made the world. Every Arab knows Hashem gave the Torah to the Jews. They just think some other things. But when it comes to this, they're not questioning. Everybody understands there is a boss to the world. Even those who tells you, I'm an atheist, don't ever believe this nonsense. You don't have one atheist in the whole world. Why? Because when they get a letter from the IRS, what's the first thing they say? Oh my God, no, please, don't do this to me. Oh no, why? I'll be better, I promise. Right? I remember my cousin told me 27 years ago. I told him people make fun. We're becoming more and more religious. He told me, don't worry. Those who make fun today, I promise you, there will be a day they will stand online to get a bracha from you. That was his words. And one by one it happened. Every one of my friends. Baruch Hashem, I was able to make almost all of them shomer mitzvot. I didn't leave them alone. With the exception of one or two, maybe two, almost everyone, my cousins, Baruch Hashem, became all shomer mitzvot. But those who in the beginning were shocked and asking questions and sometimes even making fun, Hashem gave this one problem with the boy, this one with his marriage, this one with his father. Everyone had some kind of a problem. And when a secular person has a problem, what does he remember? Oh, I have a friend that gives lectures. Maybe he can help. I have connection over there, you know. This is how it works. So emunah everyone has. They can say until tomorrow, whatever they say, but they have emunah. But when I talk about emunah, I'm speaking confidence in Hashem. Confidence. Now we all know, the more confidence you have in Hashem, the less ishtadlut you have to do. Ishtadlut means efforts. Now the question is, how do I know? How do I know to rate myself? From 0 to 100. I want to be honest, objective. From 0 to 100. How much confidence I have in Hashem? Maybe 90%. Maybe 70%, maybe 50%, maybe not even 1%. What do I know? Who do I know to compare myself to? If I compare myself to ordinary people in the street, maybe I'm 90% compared to them. If I compare myself to Rav Ades or Rav Kook, all these big holy people, maybe I'm not 2% compared to them. If I compare myself to Moshe Rabbeinu, there's nothing to even talk about. The arguments don't begin, bichlal. So in comparison to who? That's a very big question. Here, Baruch Hashem, we have a break that HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes to consideration in what generation you grew up. Meaning today it's much harder to be in full confidence in Hashem like it used to be. For instance, there are too many things that distract a person from Avodat Hashem. Too many phones, internet, materialistic world, computers, a lot of things that in the old days didn't have to be busy with. There was not that much to do. There was no electric, no electronic. There was either you working in a field, or you're working with the animals, or you sit and learn Torah. Those basically were your options. There's nothing else. There was no university and no this and no that and course over here and vacation in Bahamas and Dubai just opened up. None of these things. Life was very simple. All families live in one area. Why? Because there's no communication, no trains, no airplanes. Everybody lives in the same area. The tribes, families, everybody walk to each other. There's no such thing to drive, to fly, to visit your family in Florida in Thanksgiving once a year. There's no such thing. Everyone was all the time together. That's why they all marry cousins. Go to your grandparents in Uzbekistan, in Azerbaijan, in all these places. Almost all the marriages were cousins. Why? We already grew up together. We know what we're getting. It was much easier to find Shidduchim. Not like today, you have to go through Shadchanim, they don't know 1% about you. Besides what you wrote in a resume, which most of the time is not 100% Torah Misinai, if you know what I mean. So what is the Shadchan knows? Plus, on top of it, that he has incentive to make a Shidduch for many reasons. So it makes things more complicated. You don't really know what you're getting. You really need a lot of Chasdei Shamayim. Right? So let's go back to the beginning. The beginning is when you don't have emunah, when you don't have confidence in Hashem, problems begin. One thing leads to another, which I will talk about it in a second. But how do I know how to rate myself? The Ari HaKadosh 500 years ago, he said to his student Rabbi Chaim Vital, this was a generation of holy, giant Chachamim, holy people, 500 years ago in Tzfat. He said to him, you should know that one little thing in our generation count like something very big in the time of the Gemara, in the time of the Tanaim and the Amoraim. And if the Ari HaKadosh said that 500 years ago, when the world became 1,000% worse, since then until now, every little thing in our generation count like a huge thing in Shamayim. Hashem knows who we are and He knows where we grew up, so He understands. However, how do I know in general how much emunah and confidence I have in Hashem? One time I had a guy, he's 27 years old, sleeping on the couch in a living room by his parents. His parents have a small apartment in Queens, in a co-ops, and he's 27 years and he lives on a couch by his parents' living room. You may think, who wants to live in a couch on a living room by his parents? First, you have no privacy. Everyone walks into the house, see your blankets over there, sheets on a couch. It's not comfortable. I mean, you have no life. Why would a person want to live there? Option number one, he's broke. Doesn't have a penny, so he cannot afford his own rent. What happens if he has money? Some have money. They work, they saved some money. Why would they want to do that? Because it's comfortable. They don't have to do laundry. They don't have to cook. They don't have to do shopping. They don't have to take care of themselves. The mother takes care of everything like a little baby. Right? When you ask a person like this that is unemployed, why don't you go and try to find yourself a source of income? What's his answer to his mother? What's the answer? What for? HaKadosh Baruch Hu feeds the whole world. I heard in Rabbi Mizrachi's lecture that HaKadosh Baruch Hu feeds the elephants and the ants and Saddam Hussein and the Nazis and the Hamas. Why wouldn't he feed me? I'm a Shomer Shabbat Jew, nice, sweet Bukharian boy from Rigo Park. What, I'm worse than the Hamas? I'm worse than the bugs and the elephants? Huh? Wow, what a tzaddik. Sometimes the line between having confidence in Hashem and being a total lazy bum is thinner than your hair. Take a piece of hair, put it in between, it's almost the same feeling. You lie to yourself that the reason that you don't go to work and you don't wake up 6 in the morning and go and work until late at night to try to make some money and become independent is because you trust Hashem. If Hashem wants me to have, He knows where I am. No. Hashem will give you nothing. Why? Because you are lying and deceiving. You don't have any confidence in Hashem, and the only reason you're sleeping there by the couch and it's comfortable for you because it doesn't cost you anything, and you're just lazy. You don't want to get orders for someone and make $15 an hour. That's why you say, what's the problem? Another year I live by my parents, and another year, and all of a sudden you're 40. Why? Laziness. Now I want to ask you a question. How do you know maybe this guy really have confidence in Hashem? How do you know? It's not good to generalize. How do you know if you have confidence in Hashem or not? And there's a reason why I start the lecture with this issue, because everything in Shidduchim relates to this. You fix this, everything will work better. The answer is, if you are afraid, if you live with constant fear about the future, then you don't have confidence in Hashem. Confidence in Hashem means you sleep well at night. When a shidduch did not work, doesn't bother you. You don't get upset, you don't get depressed, you don't kill yourself, you don't come to your husband to cry for 2 days, you don't eat the whole cream cake because you're depressed, and other things that people do when they're not in a good mood. You're comfortable and you have no problem. What's the problem? You're not upset? Why should I be upset? Well, your daughter did not find a shidduch. It's already 15 dates. Nothing worked. 15 different guys. The world has a boss. Our job is to fix what's wrong with us. The rest is not in our hand. What do we know is calculation. What do we know about all our reincarnations? What do we know what age is good for us to get married? What do we know? Maybe the shidduch that's supposed to come for her is not ready yet. One person came to Rav Chaim Kanievsky. He was in his late 30s already. Not a young boy. It's already late 30s. He said to him, Rabbi, why am I not getting married? What's wrong with me? I shomer mitzvot, I learn every day, I'm a good person, I'll be a great husband, I'll be a great father. What? I know myself. Why Hashem doesn't give me shidduch? Rav Chaim Kanievsky told him, because your shidduch was not born yet. Soon she will be born. Imagine this person, how depressed he became. He walked outside, so wait a minute, if she was not born, now if she's going to be born tomorrow, I will have to wait until she's 20, I'm going to be 55. I don't want to get married when I'm 55 to a 20 years old girl. What does it mean she wasn't born? What's going on with this rabbi? He doesn't see my age. What happened? A few weeks later, somebody offered him a shidduch. What? A girl that just converted. She's already shomer mitzvot for years, but they've officially converted her. Now she can go on dates. So when a person is converted, that's like תינוק שנולד דמי, דגמרא say. גר שהתגייר, הרי הוא כקטן שנולד דמי, דגמרא say. So Rav Chaim Kanievsky with his Ruach HaKodesh told him your shidduch was not born yet, the neshama did not come to the world yet. But after she converted, perfect shidduch, and he got married. So this is just one example. So now, how do we know if we have confidence in Hashem? By how much we are worried. Worry about parnasah? Probably all the time. Worry about marrying the children? Non-stop. Worry about our health? Non-stop. Every pain we have in our body? Right away, doctor, I need an emergency appointment. No, the doctor is booked for 3 months. Oh, come on, don't do this to me. Begin to scream, to yell. Why? How will I survive 3 months? I have pain in my chest. Who knows what can it be? Right? So people are nervous or not. The internet mess up the head 1,000 times more. Constantly you hear things. You know how people get nervous? Dr. Google destroyed their life. Every pain they have, or pain in a kidney. Options. Cancer this, cancer that, cancer. Wow, my God. She comes to her husband, I'm finished. That's it. Wow, you're not davening enough for me. I'm dying. That's it. I feel it. What happened? Then she calls the doctor. I heard this, I heard that. Stop reading Google. The doctor got the point. I want to give you an example. Today, plastic surgeons have more work than ever in history. There are 2 reasons for it. People are very empty, so only the outside they care about. It's not what it used to be. But there is another reason which you'll be shocked. You know what's the number one reason why plastic surgeon making 1,000% more profit every year now? Selfie. The way they did the selfie camera, that it messed up your face. It make you look fat, and make you have a sack, make your nose double long, make you cross-eyed. Selfie. Everybody who looked at himself in a selfie, ooh, I'm so ugly. Especially the women, right away, come to us, that's it. I gotta do this, I gotta do that. 10 times more plastic surgeries because of this. No joke. It's a scientific research, what I just told you. Since they invented the selfie, the plastic surgeries in the world went up thousands of %. 2 reasons: emptiness and this lousy Satan screen. Messed up the people's mind. So if a person is not confident with himself, boy or girl, I don't have to tell you how they will come to the dating. With no confidence, I'm nothing, I'm a loser, I'm ugly, I'm this, I'm that, I'm overweight, I'm not, I'm too skinny. Everyone with this problem. Messed up the whole system. But let's move on. Let's say we worked on our confidence and Baruch Hashem, we realize Shidduchim is 100% in the hand of Hashem. When guys come to me and say to me, yes, I understand Shidduchim is from Hashem, but if we're going to continue to learn in yeshiva like this, we don't have that much access to girls and to shatchaniot. We can be here forever. What is the odds that someone will find me in the pages of the Gemara? 12 hours a day I'm here and going upstairs to sleep. From morning to night I'm in yeshiva. What is my chances? At least other people, they run, they go, single parties, Hanukkah parties, weddings. Somebody sees you, that's increasing the chance. Connect to this that the less confidence you have, the more ishtadlut you have to do. Remember the guy on the couch? When he comes and says, Hashem will send me the money to here, I don't have to work. He will not get a penny from Hashem. Penny. Until he's going to go and knock on people's door and collect charity. Hashem will not send him. Why? Not because he hates him. Because he doesn't really have confidence in him. He's just lazy. If he really had confidence, everything will be done for him. Doesn't have to worry. The problem is that confidence and laziness from the outside looks the same. Looks the same, but it's totally different. So Hashem knows if you're afraid or not. When the guys come to me and say what's going to happen with us, I always give them an example of a person that his chance to get married was below 0. Not 0, below 0. Now one person in a whole universe would put even $1 that this person will have a chance ever to get married. Ever. I'll give you 2 examples. One, 20-something years ago, one student from Bar-Ilan University decided to shoot the Prime Minister of Israel, Yitzhak Rabin. Shot him and killed him. The Israeli government put him in prison, in life in prison, no parole, no mercy, no nothing. No visitation, no walking out in the street, nothing. They made sure that he will be the most hated person in the history of Israel. Nobody had more poisonous article in the media against him like this guy. Even people who did not like Rabin, even people that hate lefties, or even people that were against the Oslo Agreement, even people that wanted to get rid of Rabin, even they got brainwashed to hate this murderer. So almost everyone in Israel, when they hear his name, enough, don't exaggerate. Now, somebody like that, what is the chance that once he's locked in a small cage with no access to the world, with the Israeli Shabak monitor him 24/7, he has no second that he has privacy. What are the odds that someone like this will get married to a woman that lives in a free world? So Hashem found him a religious girl. She insisted to go into the jail and marry him, and also had a child.
In the jail.
In the jail.
In Sinok.
In Tzinoch, in a cage. It's not a regular jail. He's in a 1 meter by 1 meter cell. No television, no radio, no access to the wall, no nothing. Nothing. Just Gemara and Shulchan Aruch he has. That's all he's been doing in the last 25 years. What normal woman would agree to do such thing? To marry to a person that you can see once or twice a year for 20 minutes. And if you say, maybe she's sick, maybe she's mentally ill, maybe she's the ugliest woman in the world. No, I understand. She said, well, I have no chance anyway. He'll take me in this situation. That's not the case. She looks normal. She's religious. She's very educated. And on purpose, she wanted to go and marry him. Why? Because he was her shidduch. And when Hashem wants something, he will find you your shidduch from under the ground. So I say to the Bachurei Yeshiva, I don't get it. He is in a cage, the most hated person in the history, and look what the shidduch he got. So you think that Hashem is blind, he doesn't see you sitting all day and learning Gemara? So why are you not married yet? Hashem has his reasons. You don't understand the reasons, but there are reasons for sure. So far everything is clear. Now let's move on. Because the level of religion today is very shallow, even people that are trying to be very religious, unfortunately they are very influenced by the internet, by society, by materialism, by what's going around in their neighborhood, in their community. Everyone is trying to imitate everyone. And we find that most religious people, unfortunately, are very into materialism. For instance, every religious magazines that you buy today for Shabbat, which is not allowed to buy them because none of them is religious, they're all lying to you. It's not allowed to bring them into the house. A very big avon from the Torah to let your children read this religious magazine. The entire magazines that call themselves religious will take you to Dubai, will take you to the Bahamas, Shabbaton in Miami Beach, a new mall is opening up, this business is gonna come. They brainwash the children and turn them into secular kids, even though they went to great yeshivot or great midrashiyot, the boys and the girls, because they are constantly brainwashed with these fake magazines, which some of Gdolei Israel already spoke about it for the last 20 years very much. They destroyed the mind of our boys and girls. And what the girls and the boys have in mind is, what do they see all day in a magazine? Beautiful mansions in Borough Park, or in Flatbush, or in Monsey, or in everywhere else. Beautiful palaces, beautiful fancy chandeliers and nice cars and fancy weddings, and everybody show off with his $1 million wedding and vacation and all the rest of the thing. And slowly we're becoming more and more goyim. We are closer than the culture of a goyim to the culture of the Torah. That's reality. Everywhere I go I see it. Not only here, in Israel also it's becoming like that. They constantly brainwash the mind of the people, and most people cannot think on their own. Where you lead them, that's where they go. And one corrupted person like this that write a column in a magazine weekly can make you such a damage in your ashkafa, destroyed you completely. And now when you come to dating, you are destroyed. I'll give you one example. Girls, they read these magazines. In these magazines, they constantly encourage the girl confidence to become feminist. Feminism is what Hashem wants, or it's against Hashem? It's against the Torah. No offense to the women. Women are princesses, queens, you gotta take care of them, you gotta give your life to them, buy them gifts in the holidays, help in the house if you can afford, bring them help, whatever you can do. The Gemara says if you make them cry, you lose your parnasa, the future of the children is in the hand of the ladies. I have a whole lecture, the status of a Jewish woman in Judaism. It's an hour and a half, you can listen to it. There's no end to how much Hashem care about the women and how much compliments they got and how many examples from the Torah I gave, how important the women are. But women are women and men is a man. It's two different words. A man cannot be a woman and a woman cannot be a man. Today they messed that up. Women became men, men became women. No wonder why the teenagers look the way they are. You don't know anymore who is a boy, who is a girl, the way they dress. Because they constantly brainwash them from a very young age, and I don't have to tell you where it leads to a lot of abomination. Women has to go back to the original way like the grandmothers. It's not a shame, it's not an embarrassment. We're not talking about modern. What makes you modern? That you're a doctor? That you're a computer engineer? That you're an F-16 pilot? That you're a commander of a tank? What makes you so important? Do you think Hashem cares about these things? Hashem would rather see you modest and smart and raising children to Torah and Yirat Shamayim, being a good wife, being a good cook, having great hospitality to the guests, being busy with chesed, helping in a community, helping in a synagogue, maybe help the yeshiva boys. Every woman with her skills. That's million and billion times better than to be some surgeon or to be some criminal lawyer without offending anyone. The problem today is that women wants to become men with career and they freeze eggs and they don't want to get married, and when they wake up they are 42 and their whole life is messed up. And even if they will have a child, they'll be 16, is bar mitzvah. There wasn't Hashem plans. When he gave the Torah and he made a woman for Adam, the last thing he wanted that woman will be also a man. And he did not want Adam to become a woman. That's why he said there's a man and there's a woman. And why a woman was made from Adam's rib, from his DNA. Hashem could not make the woman independent. What's the problem? He goes like this, there's a woman. How he made a man? Whoop, there's a man. Whoop, there's a whole world. It will do like this and there will be a woman. Why has to put the man to sleep and make a surgery and take a rib out of him and from this rib to duplicate and make a woman with some changes? Why? Deep reasons for it. That you should know the only reason you came to the world as an assistant to the man, not as an independent individual. Your whole entire purpose is, I don't want to say to serve because women will get angry, but to be a companion, to be a partner. Just like there is a president, there's a vice president. And the vice president will do certain things the president cannot do. He will replace him in certain times, he will do certain things, but that's the way it should be. It doesn't take away from your credit or from your level, God forbid. It's just two different things. Your job is this, and his job is this. When people will understand what the Torah wants, it will be a lot easier in marriages. Everyone knows his place. The problem today, they messed up everything. It's feminism and this everything that you hear. And I'm talking about religious magazine. I'm not talking about secular. Secular, there's completely nothing to talk about. I'm talking in religious magazine, in between the lines. They push this feminism. They make the girls very materialistic. They make them addicted to fancy things, to vacations. Every little comment the men say, oof, you're so offensive, you bully, you this, you that. If your grandmother would hear it, she would laugh on the floor. That's a bully? That's offensive? If you only knew how we grew up. But today, everything got messed up. And they think the more feminism is going to take over, the better their situation will be. But in reality, they pay the price. Do you know how many tens of thousands of women are suffering, waiting for get today in the world? Are being tortured? I get, in an average month, like 30 to 40 cases like this to my email. Just as one individual. Now imagine how many out there in the world, if I get that much. Help me with this, call this, the bedding don't care, this one doesn't care, the father doesn't care, I begged him, I begged her. It's crazy what's happening here. They think that by pushing this agenda, it's going to help them. In reality, it destroys them. They are the first one to be the victim of the system. The first one. I'll give you another example. The secular court in Israel, with their hypocrisy, they constantly giving hard time to the rabbinical bedin. There is rabbinical bedin, which take care of marriage and divorce. They are in charge of this field. They're not acting in criminal cases, murder and other things, but it's good for the Israeli government. We don't have the head to deal with marriages and divorce. We'll throw it to the rabbis. Let them deal with that. It's anyway not interesting, like murder cases or other things. So let the rabbi takes care of it. No, fine. But they handcuffs the hands of the rabbis. I'll give you an example. A woman comes to the bedin. She's asking to get divorced. After they try to make peace, all these things, it did not work out. So they asked the man, please give her a get. No, I'm not giving her a get. What? She has to give back this, she has to give back this, she has to do this, she has to publish an apology. He thinks he's King Hussein or something. You know? Okay, so until he will destroy her completely, he takes advantage on the power the Torah gave him. So now they publish this case on a newspaper, and all the Israeli secular ignorant chilonim begin to bark. Whoa, what kind of religion is that? What, until when women will have to suffer? We should cancel these marriages. We should cancel the get. They don't understand anything. They never read the Torah once in their life. It's not really relevant what they say. But what gets them to speak like this? This is the biggest scam ever. When the rabbis say, okay, give us the power fully, what the Torah told, that we can get the get out of the man. We can get sanctions against him. We don't let him fly. We can go against his business. We can freeze his account. We can take away his driver's license, and we can beat him up. That's what the Torah said to do to a man that wants to torture his woman. Bottom line, from every 1,000 men that refuse to give a get to a woman, maybe one will survive the torture. Everybody will give it in a week. But when the rabbis will give him one smack, immediately they send the police, put him in jail. It happens here also. Some rabbis went to jail. Why? Because they went to a person and said, if you don't give the get, somebody will do something to you. Immediately went to the police. But they give you only a little power, and when you need to do what the Torah say, they don't give you the power. And then they blame you. You took away the power from us. You make us fail in our mission, and now you come to blame us? That's what's going on today. So this is just to show you what a corrupted system we live in. So let's move on. As a result of what the boys and the girls are exposed to when they grow up, and the conversation they hear, and those lousy magazines that they read, and other movies that they watch, some more, some less, it messed up their head completely that by the time they reach the age of marriage, most of the reasons for the marriage, it's not legal reasons. For instance, some girls, they want to marry to whom? To a sponsor, not to a husband. So the first question that they will ask in the Shidduchim, they have money? No, the father is a Rebbe, is Avrech. He only make 40,000 a year. Okay, we'll get back to you, of course. Yeah, sure. My rabbi once told me, if you would hear what I got today, you would laugh. What? A shadchan call and asks, for a girl, there is a suggestion. First question, you will support? No, I'm Avrech. He hung up. He didn't say, oh, he didn't even try to say, oh, so I think it's not going to work out. He hung up. Like this. No, I'm an Avrech. He hung up on him. Meaning he doesn't even have the minute to waste on him anymore. Do you understand what's going on? This was in Israel. I don't know how it works here, but that was in Israel. So what do you see over here? It's becoming business transaction. Business transaction. Now, when it was like this by the Goyim, nothing is new under the sun. When it's like this by the Chilonim, nothing is new under the sun. But when it became like this in the religious world, that's a very big thing. It's never been like that. Where in a history a person would sell his soul for the money? Now I want you to know, almost all the marriages that people connected together for materialistic reasons are all ending with bitter divorces. Almost all of them. Why? Very simple. Chazal already told us in פרקי אבות. כל אהבה שתלויה בדבר, בטל הדבר, בטלה האהבה. Every connection between a man to a woman, that it's not spiritual and it's not real, based on love and attraction, and I love how she is and she loves how you are, and they love each other personality traits, that's not a factor. First, he's a multi-millionaire, and she's thinking about the mansion that she's going to live in, with the servants, and the nice cars, and the vacation. It blinds her, and especially if she comes from a poor home, in her mind, he's going to save me out of my misery, and it will work for about 3 to 6 months. That illusion. The problem with the human being is that no matter how poor he was, once he moved from poverty into wealth, he gets used to it very fast. 3 months later, he forgot who he was. He already looked down at other poor people. You understand what I'm saying here or no? So people usually forget where they came from. Forget very fast. So therefore, as soon as the woman will move into this fancy lifestyle, she will get used to it, meaning it won't get her the excitement that she had in the beginning. Once this excitement is over, the torture really begins. She has to live now for the next 30, 40 years with a man that in her eyes, she has nothing to do with him. She doesn't like how he looks. She doesn't like his accent. She doesn't like his height. She doesn't like his wisdom. She doesn't like his personality traits. She hates his family. She doesn't like anything about him. She liked him because he promised her all kinds of... Exactly. But once this is not a factor anymore, batel hadavar betela ahava. So that's very, very bad and very dangerous. Very dangerous. When the love is dismissed, when a couple gets together based on something that it's not real, once that something is going away, the connection is cancelled. It's actually never really had a connection. But I want to tell you now a few very interesting things. When a man or woman goes on a date, first there is the period that you're checking each other, right? Usually the mistakes begins right there. Many of the conditions that the boy makes or the girls make, it's not valid. It's not valid. Why? First of all, if you ask people about him, whatever you're going to hear, you don't know if you can count on. Because maybe someone had an experience with him once, and based on that he thinks he's full of anger, but with you he's going to be an angel. Or maybe the other way around. Maybe the references that he put over there are all his friends, and they love him very much because he did a lot of favors to them, and they owe him a lot, and they will never dare to say anything bad about him because they never saw anything bad about him. But he's nice to them. But as soon as he's going to move with you, the torture will begin. You don't know. Maybe he's a crazy person. To other people he's nice. But with this woman he can become a real monster. So there is really no way to know. Also, there is a lot of problems when people say, I don't want this nationality. I want only this, or I want only that. I want them to be like us. But what happens if they came from a different country? No chance. That's problematic. The nature of human being, he wants people that he will feel comfortable with. So Bukharian would like Bukharian, and Kafkazi, and Persian, and Syrian. And it's known in Ashkenazi, that's the nature of people, by Jews and by non-Jews, that they would rather get with someone that they know where they come from. We have mutual things. We will understand each other. We speak the same language. We eat the same food. We have the same customs. We know mutual people. We may even be in the same community. What can be better than that? Not always that's the case. Sometimes the closer you are and the more you know, the worse it gets. Sometimes better to get someone that is completely from a different place. Why? Around there's a lot of ayin hara, people jealous, people say things, it's too sensitive, too many friends getting involved. It can create a lot of problems. You don't know who is your soulmate. You assume that if you're Bukharian, it must be Bukharian, or if you're Syrian, it must be Syrian. That's one of the main reasons why you have tens of thousands of boys and girls that did not get married and will never get married. Will never get married. Why? Because they never wanted to try any other option. I don't want from this. Why? They heard few stories about Moroccans, or Yemenite, or Syrian, or Ashkenazim, or Persian, or whatever the case is, and they already put an X on them. And no matter how much you try to explain to them that each individual is a whole world by himself, you have good and bad in every group. Doesn't matter where they came from. You have nice Syrians and you have ones that needs improvement. Same thing Bukharian, same thing Persian, same thing Hasidim, same thing Ashkenazim, same thing by the Goyim. Some Goyim are very nice and decent, and some of them are monster. And they are from the same family. One brother and another one. Yaakov and Esav. If you go by the family, Esav should have gotten the best shidduch in the history. His father is Yitzchak and his grandfather is Avraham Avinu. What the yichus he is. What the yichus. Son of a Rebbe, son of a Rebbe. Who was Esav? Who was Esav? Read who was Esav. You can come from the same family. So imagine now they say, oh, the family of Yitzchak and Avraham, for sure they're good. Or the other way around, they have a boy of the derech. Yaakov should have never got a shidduch. Based on the stupidity today in the world, why don't you want to take the girl? She has a brother that is off the derech. What does it have to do with her? He lives in his place, and she lives in her place. She's a wonderful girl. She just came out of Bet Yaakov. She went to seminary in Israel. Very modest, very classy, very smart. Getting to get a good job that can support you while you're learning Torah. What, do you have to sit with her brother on a table every day? What is it? So he remembered that there is a Gemara. If you want to marry a girl, check her brothers first. All of a sudden he became Rav Ovadia. Somehow he knows Gemara all of a sudden. Why the Gemara said that if you want to marry a girl, check first to see who her brothers are? This was 2,000 years ago. That has nothing to do to today. Why? 2,000 years ago, women did not go to school at all. Not Jews and non-Jews. Women were home, raised at home, helped the mother, take care of the cows and the sheep and the chickens and sow and knead and go to the market to sell parsley and then take care of all the things of the house, changing the kids, taking care of the young brothers, going to bring water from the well. It was a whole different life. So since the girls never went to school, and they never learned not Torah and not Mishnah and not Gemara and not Halacha, nothing. They did not even know how to read and write. So everything the girls would know comes from the brothers who go to Talmud Torah, and they come home and they learn, and they go over their halachot and gemarot, and they teach the girls. So if the girls have Talmidei Chachamim brothers from very high level of learning, then you will get a great girls with a lot of Torah skills and knowledge, because she had good teachers. She has brothers and they're all Bnei Torah. If in the old days her brother were hunters like Esav and criminals and doing idol worshippers, stay away from this girl. She has horrible influence. Okay, back then, yes, but today girls do not get educated by their brothers. They get educated by the school. They go to school from the morning until late in the evening. And that's where they get all their Torah, from the Rebbitzin over there, and from what they teach over there, and they go into learning. Girls today learn sometimes more than boys. Sometimes girls, you ask an average Jewish girl, she knows more Tanakh than boys. Ask her about the Tanakh, not Tanakh, Nach. Torah, maybe the boys know better. But some girls even know Parashat HaShavua better than boys. You ask the boy, he will tell you a lot about Gemara. Sometimes I have Bachurei Yeshiva, they come to my house. I say, maybe you say Dvar Torah about the parasha. Best case scenario, can speak 2 minutes the most on the parasha. Why? It's not their fault. All week they learn Gemara from morning to night in Halacha. Ask them Halachot, they give you a nice speech. Ask them Gemara, they can tell you a beautiful sugya. Ask them Parashat Shavua, they maybe know as this one or two things that they read in some alonim that they give in a shul. That's the best. Sometimes they don't have. So, but you Bachurei Yeshiva. Yeah, but we don't learn Parashat Shavua. We learn Gemara all week. However, the girls, it's the other way around. They learn Chumash, they learn Nach, they learn a lot of other things. Tov, Baruch Hashem. So let's move on. So many of the connections to begin with is not good. Now what do you do before you go on a shidduch? First you check, take away the racism out of your mind. Stop generalizing people. Stop saying he's like this, he's from that group, I don't want. You never know. Some couples, he has the best marriages and they both came from a total opposite world. And they're very happy. Very, very happy. I speak sometimes to a shiur of the ladies. There's one girl over there, she came from Israel to marry a Satmer Hasid here in America. And she is completely Litvish, an Israeli. Satmer is anti-Israeli. What are the odds? Fantastic marriage. When she speaks about her husband, like she speaks about Hashem almost. Why? Perfect shidduch. Imagine he would say, Israeli? Litvish? Well, I'm Hasidish, I'm Satmer. Don't talk to me about them. He would not go on a date. Probably, who knows if he will ever get married. It's critical. It's no joke. Or she from Israel, what does she have to do with the Satmer Hasid? You'd never know. Yes, I know what you prefer. We know what everybody prefer. We were not born yesterday. We know the nature of the world. I did not say that if, for instance, if you are Litvish and they give you 4 different options and one of them is Litvish and the other 3 are not, that you shouldn't start with the Litvish. No problem. You have now, go for the one that you would prefer the most. What happened if it didn't work out? You put an X on the other 3. You don't want to try? If the person is Ben Torah, if he has good midot, if he's religious family, what's the problem? Oh, so you have some different hashkafa. So, marriage, what is marriage? What, you're going to sit and learn chevruta? Some people think that the wife is the chevruta. She's not smart enough. What do you mean? No, I speak to her about what we learn in yeshiva. She has no idea. Try to explain to her, excuse me, that's not the purpose of a woman, to understand shnayim ochazim betalit. She needs to know how to bake very well, how to make great oshpolo, how to raise children, how to choose nice things to decorate the house, how to support you in time of trouble. What is this now? You want to turn her into a Bachur Yeshiva? Why Hashem say that women should not learn Gemara? Learning Gemara is the highest level, the Rambam writes. Because very addictive, and women has very high neshama. If many of the women will start learning Gemara now, they'll become addicted to it. From the minute they become addicted, they don't want to marry, they don't want to do anything. Rabbi, you sure I don't have to get married? It's not mitzvah for a woman to do pruvu, so I can learn Gemara all my life. Yes, it's not a joke. There are actually girls that are addicted to Gemara. The Gemara says that someone who teaches his girl Gemara is kelamed ota tiflut. It's like teaching her chas v'shalom something totally not relevant. Why? It's the holiest thing. For men, yes, but for a girl, if she's gonna be vacuumed into such a world, that's it. No more cleaning, no more raising children, no more any. Her mind is in a sugya. Rina, are we going to have dinner today? Shh, Moshe, I'm in the middle of Tosfot now. Kushia. Wait, Moshe, don't disturb me. It's Bitul Torah, Moshe. What do you care about the chicken? Heat it up in the microwave. Wait a minute. Tosfot, this Gemara. This marriage will be over before it started. You understand, right? So maybe she's going to get an award, the biggest Talmidah Chachama. But Mary, she won't be. Okay, so what's the first thing you check? You finally go on a date. They asked the Chazon Ish this question. Chazon Ish was the biggest Chacham. Everybody agree. Chazon Ish was a legend. Doesn't matter what you are. Ashkenazi, Hasid, Sfaradi, you understand? Chazon Ish was extraordinary big holy chacham that killed himself באוהלה של Torah, literally. Chazon Ish say, I don't remember ever if I was hungry or not. 3 days you could go without eating and you wouldn't realize that they had to assign a person to remind him to eat. This is the level of the Chazon Ish was. And this was only 60 years ago. We're not talking 600 years ago. If you read his language, if you know Torah and you read the language of the Chazon Ish, if you wouldn't know it's the Chazon Ish, you would think that it was written 500 years ago. The language is in such a high level that it doesn't belong to our generation. It's a special neshama that came to the world. So they asked the Chazon Ish, what's the first thing a man has to see in a woman on a shidduch? What's the answer? Metziat chen. He likes how she looks or not. Pretty enough for him? Attractive enough? Tall enough? Short enough? Heavy enough? Skinny enough? Everyone with his taste. Right? Some people say, I'm attracted more to dark girls. Some to light girls. You convince him to go with something he's not attracted to, I don't have to tell you what's going to happen. 2-3 months later, he's going to start finding why this is here, why the food is cold, why the kid is over there, why, that's all excuses. He's frustrated from who he got married to because he's not interested in her. It was forced on him. The parents, the Shadchan, the Rebbe, everybody convinced him. He was embarrassed to say no. He's stuck for life now. Or the other way around. Can happen to the girl also. First thing, believe it or not, Metziat chen. You like her as a woman, yes or no? If the answer is yes, let's move to step number 2. Let's check what's the second thing? Her midot. Midot, humble, down to earth, not an angry wolf, generous, baalat chesed, has patience. We have to check. Third thing, by a woman, ashkafa. Ashkafa, ideology. What kind of ashkafa she has? She admired the professors from a university more than she admired the Talmidei Chachamim. She likes all kinds of university speakers instead of real Talmidei Chachamim that grew up in real yeshivot. Something here is not adding up. She likes all kinds of goyish things. She's going to give you speeches about Macbeth of Shakespeare and Chekhov. That's the kind of mother you want for the children. All she cares about is about art and malls and the new mall that open up, have ski inside. You have no idea what a great designer. That's all she cares about. Not Torah, nothing of Dusha, Shem Yirachem. No modesty, none of these things. Very bad. But you find her pretty in your eyes. You find her Baalat Midot. You find her with good ashkafa. Already 90% is in your hand. The rest is not critical. Family is not the best. Not the end of the world. If she had some kind of a relative, not the end of the world. Most important thing, remember, Yoshua ben Nun was the greatest person in the whole world. He took the place of Moshe Rabbeinu. Hashem nominated him, not the newspapers. Today the magazines nominate who is a Talmid Chacham and who's not. How do you know about rabbis? Based on how many pictures you see in the magazine. They have connection. Put my picture. The more pictures you have, the more people admire you. Wow, he's popular. It's a whole different world today. Back in time, it wasn't like that. So what do we see over here, Rabotai? That the 90% of what we said was if she finds favor in his eyes, meaning how she looks, and midot and ashkafa. That's already 90%. Everything else around, it's not so critical. Yoshua ben Nun married Rachav. She was a Goya doing the most horrible things you can imagine. Once she became Baalat Shuvah, and she became Jewish, and obviously when Yoshua ben Nun wanted to marry her, He checked exactly what's her midot. He's not a fool, right? This is the person that Hashem nominated to be the leader of the holy nation. He took Moshe Rabbeinu place. It had to be somebody very special, right? Yoshua ben Nun. And he married her. Why is the Torah telling us such a story? The Torah could have hid such a thing. It's not such a great honor that you married her. If somebody would marry her today, you would have flyers all over Borough Park against him. Did you hear who the rabbi is marrying? We don't want anything to do with this rabbi. Why? Look who he married. But she's a ger tzedek. She's a gioret. Who cares? But she's ba'alat tshuva. Who cares? You know her history. History. So you know better than Hashem. One person was by me from Yerushalayim when he was 40 years old. He is a collector for food for poor families in Yerushalayim. So I asked him, I walked with you in Yerushalayim 15 minutes on the street. Maybe 100 people stopped you on the street. How are you? How are you? How are you? Everybody knows you. Everyone knows you in Yerushalayim. All the religious people knows of you. And they could not find you shidduch. So no, they find me many shidduchim. So he said, I only want a girl that I will be her first man in her life. So I told him, what happened if she's a ba'alat tshuva? Or maybe she's a woman who got divorced, but she's a tzadikah. You're not exactly 18 years old, you know. He said, I know, don't give me the speech. I know, but the problem is by my mind. I can't give up on it. So I told him, so you're a bigger tzaddik than Yoshua ben Nun. He looked at me like this. He said, this is exactly the words of Rav Yehuda Tzadka Zatzal, alav hashalom, told me. You better than Yoshua ben Nun, come give me bracha. So I said, no, so now you heard it from the Gdol Ador and you heard it from someone katan like me. But at least it's two witnesses. He told me, no, you don't have to sell me on that. I understand that you're right. But I can't. Until today, single. We are 20 years later now. He had hundreds of opportunities to get married, but he decided to judge a woman based on her past. People change, Rabotai. Sometimes people were not so great when they're 16, 17, but now they're 20, 21, they mature, they became better. You gotta check. It doesn't matter so much how he used to be or how she used to be. It matters who they are in the last year or two. If they're solid now, it's a bachur shelomed every day, goes to learn. Everyone according to what they want. That's very important to know. By men, first, ishtabach shemo. Shaon Shabbat. No, turn the lights on, please. Very good. By a man, let's continue. By a man, most important thing, first thing he check, by a woman when she wants to go on a date with a guy, first thing she check if she likes him as he look as a man. He's tall enough for her, short enough, heavy enough, light enough. You got the money. Money is not a factor. Money should not be a reason to marry a person. Why? Money only comes from Hashem, and Hashem also can take the money. Money is 100% in Hashem's hand. People that make choices based on money, based on car, based on house, based on vacations, this kind of marriage will never be real. Never be real. The only time you're allowed to give money consideration if you have two options that they are fully equal. Both of them great girls, pretty girls, modest girls, great family, everything is, you don't know how to make a decision. And one comes with a lot of money and one comes with no money. Okay, so now since everything else is the same, there's no mitzvah to choose to be poor. There's no, no obligation to be poor. So if money came to you as an option, no problem. But to make it a condition, that's very bad. Very bad. So you should know, I'll give you a proof for it. All of you heard about Rav Shach, right? He was the leader of the religious world until 20 years ago. Rav Shach was the head of Yeshivat Ponovich. When he was in Europe, his Rosh Yeshiva, Rav Iser Zalman Meltzer, offered him a shidduch. He was the greatest Talmid Chacham in the whole yeshiva, as a teenager. The biggest. The Rosh Yeshiva offered him his nephew, his niece, an orphan girl, his niece. And very poor, no parents, very poor. She has nothing to give. And Rav Shach, I guess she liked how she looks, but he asked the Rosh Yeshiva, I'm learning full day. And she came with no money. Where are we going to live? The Rosh Yeshiva told him, you live in my living room. In my living room. Rav Shach said to him, but there is already a couple living in your living room. It was a husband and wife living in a small living room. It wasn't the living room of Brooklyn or Monsey. It was a living room of, what city was there over there? Huh? Yeah, Vilon, Bidyuk, exactly. So he told him there is already a couple living there in the living room. So the Rosh Yeshiva said, yes, I'm aware. They live in my house. So we'll make a curtain from the ceiling. We divide the room to two halves. And you and her will live on one side, and this couple will live on the other side. Meaning, if you want to stretch, you may get your elbow into your friend's wife's eye. Boom, in the morning. Good morning, boom. Why? You can't even sneeze. It's all one room. And it's not a wall. It's a curtain, like a blanket. Parochet, you know. Rav Shach say, if that's what the Rosh Yeshiva say, that's what I'm going to do. All his friends made fun at him. What happened to you? I got 3-bedroom apartment. He got 2-bedroom apartment. He got 3-bedroom apartment. And we are nothing compared to you in Torah. You should get the richest girl. They should give you the best house. Why you settle on an orphan with no money? And you're going to live in a living room? Rav Shach say, I was taught in my life that whatever your rabbi say, you have to listen. I'm not going to listen when I want, and when I'm not interested, find excuses. I listen whether the condition is great, whether they're not good, I listen. The girl is good? Yes. She's righteous? Yes. She looks okay in my eyes? Yes. What else do I need? Parnasa is in Hashem's hand. Mina Shamayim. He got married to her, they moved into the living room. Shortly after, the Nazis came to town. The Nazis came into the port. German soldiers are in town. Rav Shach said to his wife, we have nothing here. And these Nazis, who knows what's going to be next with them? Before it's too late, let's get on a boat and go to Israel. Israel, they called it Palestine in those days. Let's get on a boat and go to Israel. What's going to be in Israel? There's no way to know. It wasn't like today you go on the internet and check for an apartment. No telephone, no nothing. What did you know? You gamble your life. You get on a boat with 2 suitcases. One for him, one for her. And they got on a boat. They went. They had nothing to worry. All his friends also realized there's big danger. So they put their apartments for sale. But it takes weeks to sell an apartment, if not months. And then the Nazis closed the border. Nobody goes in and out, and they started to make selection, put all the Jews. All his friends from the yeshiva got murdered. He was the only one that survived, became Rosh Yeshivat Ponovich, had a salary all his life. Any amount of money he wanted, he had. People were waiting online to give him money. Online. Reichman gave him one check. Reichman, the rich family, $100 million in a time that he was like $1 billion today. In a time that he gave him one check for $100 million, it was equal to $1 billion a year. He married the orphan and they laugh. Where are they a minute later? With all their apartments and money, and where was he? Just to show you, if you are a believer, believe all the way. Don't be fake.
הרב ספר להם שהוא אמר, העולם הבא שלי שם, רייכמן אמר לרב שך, העולם שלי, הרב שלי שם גדול, אז אני חושב שאני יותר ממך.
Yeah, but not only that, but you reminded me about something more important. Rav Shach, one time a person came to him. Rav Shach, so one person came to Rav Shach and he said to him, Rabbi, someone just opened another yeshiva. He used to teach by me. He's opening another yeshiva. Half of the boys from my yeshiva wants to move over there. How can he do such thing? He cannot go into a different city. Why does he have to open in the same city? So Rav Shach listened to him. Rav Shach opened he had a little wall unit where he was putting his money. He took a staff of few $1,000s, $10,000, and he said, here, Bezrat Hashem, your yeshiva will continue in full force. That rabbi took the money, thank you, Kvod Harav, thank you, and went quickly with a smile. Rav Shach had an assistant, an Iraqi Jew, Sfaradi, Schaik. He said to him, what did I just see here? He came to cry. Now one person opened another yeshiva and that's like a competition. Or you went and gave him cash? What is this? He told him, when you are a person that deal with the public, you have to read between the lines what really bothers them. You really think he cared that he opened another yeshiva somewhere else? That's not his main concern. His main concern was that half of the donations that he used to get will go now to the new guy. So by me giving him a lot of money, it is his worry. It's not his worry. So how he went with a smile. Now, let's move on. Buy a girl. First thing she check with the guy if she likes him. As a man. You can never go and marry a guy just because he's a Talmid Chacham. It's wonderful. Who wouldn't want Talmid Chacham? He is the best midot in the world. But there's nothing in between you and him. Nothing. No conversation, no connection, no attraction, nothing. Like two strangers. So, what is the point? Marriage is not two roommates who live and do favors to each other. It's much more than that. They become one soul, one unit. So, first thing, you have to check if there is some attraction and some connection. If it's not the most amazing attraction or the best beginning, the Stipler say, as long as they are not disgusting you, the man or the woman, meaning you don't have a turn off by looking at her or she by looking at you, as long as it's like this, meaning there is a potential to connect, you give it a chance. If mamash, that's completely not your taste, don't break someone's heart, don't make them waste time and money, you know it's not going to work. But if you see some attraction can develop and grow to a beautiful thing. That's what Rav the Stipler say. Im en tchiyah, she's not pushing you off, or you're not pushing it off, meaning when it comes to attraction, you can try. But if you say, no, in a million years, there's no chance I'm going to be attracted to her, and she said the same thing about you, which is in a matter of taste, everyone with his own taste, there's no point of wasting time. Just because he's a big tzaddik, just because he's the best one in the yeshiva, just because he's the son of a big rebbe, that's nothing to do with the shidduch. You understand? Okay. Now, big rebbes, when they put their girls for shidduchim, they did not want anyone to know that they are the daughters of this rebbe. Why? Because they're afraid that the boy will take her only because she's a daughter of the famous rebbe. Because people would like to be the in-laws of a celebrity or a famous rabbi that the whole world admire or knows. Because it's great ego, great honor. Wow, you the Chatan of Rav Ovadia? Wow, you the Chatan of Rasha? You the Chatan of Rav Elia? You the Chatan of Chazoni? Wow, what an honor. Right or wrong?
That's true.
But that's not good. You want him to marry you or to marry your daughter? Also, it's very foolish to marry a girl based on her father for good and for bad. If he's a great tzaddik and famous and great legend, has nothing to do with the marriage. Your marriage is not with him, it's with her. You may see him every week or every 2 weeks, but believe me, that's not going to affect your marriage that much. What's gonna be your marriage is you and her. So get it out of your head. Forget who's her family. Focus on a girl or focus on a guy. And also, if the parents are not the best in the world, also not the end of the world. Why? Most important thing is who you marry. The parents are not living with you. Okay, that's to make things clear. Now we'll move on. After the girl check by the guy if she likes him as he looks, next thing she check by him, what is it? Ashkafa. By a man, ashkafa is more critical even than midot. By a woman, midot is the most important thing. They say, Avraham Avinu say to Eliezer, go find shidduch to my son Yitzchak. Don't get him any girls from the Knaanim. Go to Haran, to the family of Betuel and Lavan, and from there find him a shidduch. Everybody asks, ze nevela veze trefa. They're big reshaim. The Knaanim are reshaim, and Lavan and Betuel are just as bad. What is the difference? Don't find anyone from San Francisco, but also don't find anyone from South Carolina. What's the difference? Same thing. So he said, no, from San Francisco don't find, but from Manhattan, yes. Something doesn't add up here. If you're so worried about Reshaim, you should say to your servant, don't find anyone wicked to my son, meaning nobody in the world can marry him, because everyone was wicked. So the answer is, Rabotai, Avraham say, I lived among the Knaanim. I did not make one Baal Tshuva over there. But when I was in Haran, I made a lot of Baalei Tshuva. Why? Because it's written in the Torah, Ve'et hanefesh asher asu becharan. Meaning, people over there have good heart. Yes, they're wicked. Yes, they have bad ashkafa, bad ideology. Yes, they are idol worshippers. Yes, they are greedy for money. Yes, they may be thieves. Everything is the same. Canaan and Haran. But Canaan is people with no heart. And in Haran is Reshaim, but have a good heart. When I started to give lectures in the beginning of my career, 25 years ago, I spoke only in Hebrew. Until September 11. Actually, we all owe some gratitude to Bin Laden, Imach Shimo, because maybe if September 11 would not take place, I would until today give only lectures in Hebrew. Because I never had a plan to give lectures in English. Because you have to think in Hebrew and translate to English while you speak, plus you have to think about what to talk about. It's not that easy. But what happened? After September 11, all the Israelis escaped from New York like rats. Well, immigration was all over. All of a sudden, you saw immigration cars. They're looking for illegal people. Everybody ran to Florida, to Los Angeles, to Israel, to I don't know where, South America. New York became empty almost completely from Israelis. Now I used to have lectures in Hebrew. Now no Israelis. I was sitting for a Saturday night in my house. Rav Aderet was next to me in Motzi Shabbos with the rabbi that was born in China. And I get a call. I get a call from a Persian boy. This was September 11 is what, 20 years ago? Yeah. Exactly 20 years ago. 19 years ago. That was it. Mamash after September 11. I get a call from a Persian boy. He said to me, would you agree to give a lecture in English? I'm thinking to myself, English, a lecture in English? It's difficult, Matt, for an hour and to speak in English. Wow. So I said, where? He told me by the Bukharians. So I said, where are the Bukharians? He said, in Or Natan. There is an organization in Queens, Or Natan. I said, what is this? He said, they have a house. They're going to be about 50, 60 people. That's when they had a small house. Before 108th Street and before the theater. They already have 3 Gilgulim, Or Natan. That was in a previous Gilgul. Now, Baruch Hashem Mishamayim, Rav Aderet was sitting right next to me. I asked him, what do you think? I should start giving lecture in English? Anyway, in Hebrew it's kind of dead. I said, why not? Sure, Hashem will help you. I said to the guy, yes, when? Come, I think it was Monday. Come Monday. So I started with the Bukharians. After I started to go every week, Baruch Hashem was great. Then the Georgians found out. I got a call, oh, since you give a lecture to the Bukharian, maybe you come to give by the Georgian. Well, it's not far. Gruzinim. Yellowstone. So I went to the Gruzinim. And then to the Persians and this. Baruch Hashem, slowly started to give English lectures. By now, probably, 4,000 lectures I gave in those 20 years. But the interesting thing, why I'm remembering this now, because from all the people all over the years that I dealt with, who are the ones that is the easiest to pull them close to Hashem? The Bukharians. It's unbelievable. A Bukharian that does not know one word about Torah. He grew up in a public school, his parents came here when he was a baby, grew up here, mamash doesn't know, he speaks some Russian. He did not grow up religious. Maybe his grandmother was, his grandparents, but he already grew up in Rigo Park, in a public school. You speak to him, you speak to the boy, 1, 2 hours, already a different person. It's almost like it's like a diamond. You shake the mud a little bit, already comes, wow, this, that. I had one of them, Bukharian, came 3 times, 3 lectures. 3 lectures, already kippah, tzitzit, Shabbat. Now he's still going to the gym. You know, it was like Bruce Lee. He goes to the gym, the Christian missionary saw him with the tzitzit and kippah. They're like hunters. As soon as he saw a Jew with kippah and tzitzit, oh, how are you, brother? I see that you're coming closer to God. How wonderful. This Bukharian may not know Torah, but fool is not. So he wants to smell what this Christian wants from him. So he begins to give him all kinds of verses from the Tanakh. Isaiah, Jeremiah. What does he know from his life? He's 3 weeks Shomer Shabbat. Tzitzit is smell brand new yet. He's talking to you about Isaiah, Jeremiah. But this Bukharian was sharp. He said to him, listen, I'm not such an expert in religion. You may look at me like this. Why don't you come and say all these things in front of my rabbi on Wednesday in Bet Gavriel? So the guy said, well, sure, well, give me the address. He gives him the address. He calls me up. Listen, this Christian missionary is going to come Wednesday. I hope you don't mind. Wednesday, he didn't show up. Next week, he saw him again in a gym. He said to him, oh, we waited for you last Wednesday. You didn't come. Oh, yeah. I actually checked a little bit about your rabbi. I'm not going to be able to talk to him, but don't worry. Next Wednesday, I'm getting a Christian professor from the University of Manhattan for Christianity. I don't have to tell you, the Bukharian is all one mafia. In less than 2 days, everyone in Queens was waiting for Wednesday. When I showed up, I see 1,000 people, 300 people on the streets in Bet Gavriel. I thought maybe there's a wedding or something. I said, what's this? I said, what? You don't understand. The Christian priest here, he came with another guy. That was the debate. But maybe more than 10 years ago. This was the turnaround. Even the turnaround was thanks to a Bukharian guy who was clever. He told them, come. We made that debate. We had millions of people watched it. And a lot of Jews discovered Judaism thanks to curiosity. They heard rabbi against the priest, so they came to here, and they finally understood what religion we have compared to what they have. And then they started to listen to other lectures, and Baruch Hashem, thousands of the people became religious. Look how many shuls were built since then in Queens. All of this Baalei Tshuva. So Baruch Hashem, it was a blessing from Hashem. Imagine if there was no September 11. Most likely, who knows, maybe I'll speak Hebrew until today. Never get to the English. Every lecture in English has 10 times more views than Hebrew. Because it goes all over the world, in many different countries. Hebrew, it's only Israel. Let's go back to the topic and finish right here. So remember, Rabotai, when you come to Shidduchim, You cannot forget about your faith in Hashem. Money should not be a factor. Should be the last thing on the list. Our parents married in different countries. There was nothing to eat. My father, alav shalom, told me that all of his brothers wore one pair of shoes. I asked him, but how did he fit? He said he didn't. We cut the front. The toes came out. There was no other. 7 different brothers wear the same shoes. Not like today, one kid has 7 pairs of sneakers. Back then, 7 brothers and 1 pair of shoes. That's how it was. When Rav Ovadia Yosef grew up with all his brothers and sisters, when they mapped the floor, it was one room. The whole family in one room. So he was standing on a chair with the Gemara until they mapped the floor because there was nowhere to be. He had to stand on a chair until they cleaned the floor. That's how it was. Everybody sleeps in one room. Today you come to the house, Mom, I'm not sure which room I'm going to sleep tonight. Bring me my fruits to the purple room. No, sleep over there. No, I'm not in a mood. I want to sleep in the purple. Tomorrow I'll sleep in a blue room. There's 4 different rooms. No, but the maid won't find you in the morning. She's not going to know how to serve you your coffee. You know, you raise children like this, you expect them to be successful. Now, one very important thing you should know. There's a lot of wealthy people in a Jewish community. There's also a lot of poor people, but there's a lot of wealthy people. The wealthy people, they raise their children in high standards of materialistic lifestyle. That means that these children are very, very spoiled. They did nothing in their life to contribute for the house. They never cut the grass. They never took care of the garden. They never clean, they'll never fold their laundry, they'll never do laundry, they never do anything. They never cook, they never heat up food. They don't know anything to do. Everything was done for them by the maids, right? What happened? Usually parents give them a car or access to a nice car. They drive a fancy car and they have a credit card and everything they want, they go and they shop. And usually these kids are so spoiled that they don't even care how much it costs. Because the parents are paying, so they don't care. This is what became the American mentality of our communities. Of course, I'm not generalizing. Some family more, some family less. But in general, that's the case. Now, what is the problem? The problem is that when you raise a boy or a girl like this, you have to give them this kind of lifestyle forever, or you destroy them. Let me explain. If you raise your daughter or your son in such standard that all day she goes shopping, all day she orders from Amazon, every day you come home you have 8 boxes over there by the door because your daughter is a prima donna and that's the life she likes, and she changes watches every 6 months because the other one is not in style, and every 2 weeks she buys herself 5-6 different outfits and nice shoes, and she has 300 pairs of shoes, and she drives a nice car, and if you're rich enough, you even bought her her own car. Everything looks beautiful until she gets married to a Ben Torah. Now she got married to a Ben Torah, which you committed to sponsor. But you are not ready to give her $20,000 a month. You have another 5-6 kids. You can't give each one of them $20,000 to live in such a lifestyle. So now she has to live in a 2 bedrooms, in a much, much more simple lifestyle, and she has to go to the building to do laundry, which she never did in her life. And she doesn't have an unlimited credit card anymore, because that's it, you're married, your husband should take care of you. And what do you think happened after 6 months? She goes into deep depression. Because when a person is addicted to materialism, is exactly like a drug addict. Drug addict, if you take away his drugs, he begins to kill. He will kill his own mother, he will kill himself. Why? Because he cannot take the pain. When you take from a kid candy, all day candy, candy, candy. No more cola, no more candy, no more cakes, no more nothing. What's going to happen to this kid? For days and nights, he's going to scream, go crazy, break things. Who knows what he's going to do? Why? You make him an addict, and now you want to take it away from him. Same thing, these kids. When they already get married, there's a lot of expenses. They have to pay rent, $1,500 minimum. Lease a car with insurance, $500-600. Food, another $1,000. Transportation, gas, tolls, right? Other things. It's already $4,000-$5,000 just to survive. But she doesn't want to survive. She want to buy a Gucci bag for $600. I don't know how much. She want to buy these shoes for $300. Every day something. Now this husband is a Bachur Yeshiva. It become a big problem. Maybe first year you pay, second year you pay. At one point the father say, enough is enough. I can't give you unlimited amount of money. What happens if now Corona comes and his business is down and he doesn't even have profit? They're on their own and they don't know how to make $1 on their own. Not him and not her. Because they both come from a spoiled house. Their parents think that out of love they give them everything they want. But they destroy them with their own hands. And that's what happened to thousands of American boys and girls. I speak to them, not you. I see what they're going through. So I grew up in such a house, now I have to live here, I'm so depressed, I'm far away from my parents, I don't have this, I don't have that, he doesn't give me. But I say, how can he give you? He's an avrech in yeshiva, in kollel. How is he going to give you? From the $500-$600 they pay him a month? Or $1,000 if he's lucky? How is he going to give you? Yeah, I didn't sign for this kind of life. That leads me to the next thing, and we'll finish over here. Many girls, when they go to Bet Yaakov or to other good yeshivot, their teachers, they teach them that Ben Torah is the ultimate goal. Don't look for someone that work. Someone that work usually is not as religious as someone who sits and learns Torah all day. That's a fact. Nobody can argue with this. Someone that sits and learns is much more religious than someone who goes to work. It's a fact all over the world. I witness to it. No matter where I go, when I go to pray by yeshivot, it's a whole different world than when you go to a minyan of Baalei Batim. Completely different. By Litaim, by Hasidim, by Sfaradim, doesn't matter where. Bnei Torah davens long and quiet and silence. Everyone with a jacket and a hat. Everyone with devotion. You don't hear a beep. Nobody is on the phone. No phone is ringing. 100% the way it should be. You come to places, all kinds of shtibur. 20 seconds. 3 minutes, it's finished. Mincha. No, you don't even finish to answer. The Kedusha is already in the end. Why? Everyone is in a rush. It's a burden. Let's finish. Let's get it over and go. 40 minutes, Shachrit, and he's out the door. He shows up in Hodu, if we're lucky. If he's a Kohen, Baruch Hashem, there's Birkat Kohanim, otherwise he will come for Mincha. So he showed up because there's Birkat Kohanim, Baruch Hashem. Everything is quick, it's not the same. Now listen carefully. To come to a religious girl and teach her that she should go for Ben Torah without internet, without smartphone, without WhatsApp, it's the best, it's the most ultimate achievement. Of course, that should be the goal of every girl that is in a high level, for her own good. But you have to also tell the girls one more thing that I found that they're not ready for. You have to teach them also that when you want to get a Ben Torah, the picnic that you have by your parents until now, that's not what you're going to get. They have to prepare her for the miserable condition that she has to live in. Meaning a small one-bedroom apartment, and maybe she won't have a car, they're going to have to take buses, and maybe they cannot pay the electric bill, and it's going to be hard days, and maybe they cannot afford the heat. They have to tell them all the truth. Not forever somebody will sponsor you with few $1,000s a month. You have to know. It's going to be a salary of avrech. You may work and you're going to make some money. You're going to have to support the whole house. After you have 2, 3, 4, 5 kids, tuition is very expensive. You're going to need more than $10,000 a month to survive. It's going to be almost everything on you. Are you ready for this kind of life? If you are a spoiled girl that never washed one plate in your life, who are you kidding? If all you talk about is Dubai, now I heard something new today. Safari, adventure. Shem Yerachem about this magazine, how they poison our children. Abba, yeah, I would like to go on a trip. What trip? Safari adventure. What is this? I don't know what it is. They take them to some place with animals. I say, I send you over here. There's also safari around here. Abba, I want to go to Dubai. מה זה Dubai? Dubai. A new thing now, Dubai. Psh, Dubai. Soon everybody will run from here to Dubai. Until the Arabs will realize what's happening and the problems begin. People are jumping. Nobody thinks. What do you think? Right now it's new. The Arabs see tourists, they get some money. As soon as they're going to see all Dubai is Israelis, like it happened in Turkey, and all kinds of things happening over there, I don't want to tell you what's going to happen. You don't believe me? Check what happened in Turkey. It ended bad. In reality, what is religious people need all these vacations for? I don't understand. What for? If you been Torah, if you bad Torah, you grew up in Torah, why everything is material? Why? It's all about material. Some girls don't want to get married because of Corona. Why? They waited all their life for the fancy $200,000 wedding. They don't want to marry in a backyard with 40 people. So they're not getting married. Some of them don't want to go on dates. Why? No, I'm not available right now. Why? I'm waiting for Corona to be over. What about Hashem plans? What about Hashem plans? Materialism is a drug. It destroys you. It destroys you. The Gemara said that someone that eats bread with nothing, stale, and drink water barely, and sleep on the floor, and chaye tzar atachai, lives life of sorrow and pain, ashrecha ba'olam hazeh v'tov lach ba'olam haba. You're lucky in this world, and great for you in the next world. So great for you in the next world, we all understand. You became a tzaddik, next world you're going to cash out on your mitzvot. But why, how great it is for you over here? The Gemara says you're lucky over here to live such a life of sorrow and simple life. Next world I understand. But why over here, Ashrecha? The answer is because you think the more you will enjoy this world, the better your life gonna be. The more you will run after materialism, you're nothing but a drug addict, and that will destroy you from A to Z. You're not gonna have this world, and you're not gonna have the next world. Why? Because it's all for you material. And marriages suffer very much financially because both sides usually are addicted to money. Money, jewelry, cars, that's all it is. Clothes, vacation, show off, competition, show off, who has more? What is this? Bachur Yeshiva, come to check, where did you get this tie from? He flips it over. What are you checking? What's over there? Don't worry, I'm not hiding my diamonds here. No, I just want to see the brand. Walmart. $10, Walmart. Oh, Rubini. Italian. Oh, $100. Oh, you have style, Rabbi. Right or wrong? Everything I say here tonight, one of them was incorrect. Correct me, please. Correct me if I'm not. If I exaggerated, correct me. 100%. So now, Rabotai, this is what it is, and I conclude right here. To get a good shidduch, what you have to do is literally to cry to Hashem every day. The boy and the girl, they have to cry. It's important also the parents pray for them, and the other siblings, and friends. If you pray for your friends, כל המתפלל על חברו נענה תחילה. Very good. But before you get married, you have to remember, Hashem is watching you every second. He may want to give you that girl or this guy for shidduch, but you're not ready. Maybe you're still too angry. Maybe you're still too stingy. Maybe you're too lazy. Maybe you're disrespectful. Maybe you're ungrateful. Maybe he knows that if you're going to get with her now, in 6 months she's going to run away from you. Maybe you drink too much alcohol, which is another issue now. All of a sudden, everyone is an alcoholic. People tell me, you don't understand. My husband go to shul, kiddush, finish, arak. Comes home like this, start to say all kinds of things. Shul became a nightclub to some people. Kiddush, l'chaim, fleisch, chaim. What is this whiskey red? Come, let's see. $300. Oh, Mendel. Very good. $300 he burns on a bottle. Another 2, another 3. Show off. That's the lifestyle of a Jew. Even the Arabs look at us and laugh. They won't dare to do that. So the idea is, do you want to really be religious, or you want to continue to be faker for the rest of your life? You can fake the whole world, but you can't fake Hashem. Sometimes Hashem has your shidduch and you're not ready. You're messing it up. Hashem waits. At one point he said, this guy is not serious. He takes away your shidduch, give it to someone else. It's written. We can marry a woman in Chol HaMoed, get engaged. Me'arsim isha b'Chol HaMoed. The Gemara says, why mixing simcha with simcha? Chol HaMoed is one simcha. After Chol HaMoed, you do erusin. Maybe someone else will steal her from you. Berachamim. Will pray. Hashem will take her from you and give it to him. What do you mean? She's my shidduch. What is this? Who cares that he wants her and cry for her? Hashem has waited for you a long time, and you are not 100% serious, so you barely deserve her. And this guy, serious, he gets better, and he pray, and he cry for her. Why should I give it to her? Let's give it to him. You can lose your own shidduch by your behaving. What's the question here? It doesn't mean you won't have a second chance. Maybe Hashem will give you a second or a third chance, but maybe not. Maybe not. Why don't you want to go out with certain people? Because you're racist? Because they brainwash you in your community against these people? That's a big averah. It's against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Maybe he's a great person. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. How do you know? The bottom line, Rabotai, you have to check the individual. And sometimes until you won't date once or twice, you will never know who the person is. Once you're in a meeting, you don't make an FBI investigation to the girl or to the guy. So tell me, so when you became Baalat Tshuva? When I was 18. Oh, so you had boyfriends before? May I ask how many? And where? And this and that. What is this? Of course she's going to run away from you. You intimidate her already. One girl asked me, the guy is asking such question, I don't know what to answer, it's embarrassing me. So I say to her, look, to lie, in Shidduchim you can't lie, you have to tell the truth. If it bothers him, he may come later on and say, she tricked me. So you can answer him, let's say that I was not Sarah Imenu before I was a Baalat Tshuva. That's it. No other information you have to give him. You expect Sarah Imenu, go somewhere else, find her. I'm Baalat Tshuva. My life really began as a religious girl when I was 18. Now I'm 21, 22. I'm fully devoted, religious, I did tshuva, my past is my past. That's it. Same thing could be with the guy. His history, right now he's few years in yeshiva, he's retzini, you ask the Rosh Yeshiva, wow, he's great, matmid, first one in the davening, every morning gets up, encourage everyone else, have great midot, likes to share, hard-working person, genius, smart. When you marry a girl, if you are a genius in Torah, doesn't mean she also have to be genius. Nowhere does it say that genius marry genius. Yes, you don't want the most stupid girl in the world, I understand, because you're a very smart person, you don't have patience. But who's to say that you need the smartest girl in the world? Where does it say such thing? By women, wisdom it's important, but it's not number one in the list. There are much more important things than wisdom, such as midot, humility, modesty, baalat chesed, devotion, not lazy. All of that is much more important if she's genius or not. Whatever she needs brain for, she will ask you. You advise her. Tell her, consult with me before you go and spend $500 by the mechanic. I'll tell you where to go next time. Don't let people fool you. Okay, she's a little naive, so what? But sometimes people give up on Shidduchim for the most ridiculous reasons, Rabotai. Now I will give some time for questions before we finish. Any questions about what we spoke? So let's conclude. Baruch Hashem. Conclusion. You cry to Hashem every day. Yes.
What about sending pictures? Lately everybody wants pictures.
Sending pictures, it's a hard question, almost like if to get vaccinated or not. Half of the rabbis in the world say to take the vaccine, half of the rabbis say don't dare to take it. Same thing, pictures. Some rabbis say don't dare to send the picture. Some rabbis say, look, if you send the picture, at least you will save yourself headache. The guy saw how you look and doesn't like you. And he doesn't like you, it saves you to go with the bus and go to a place and to meet and to wait 3 hours of your time. It saves you a lot. But some people say the picture sometimes lies. I say, if people send a picture, they make sure to send their best picture. So if the picture lies, it lies for the better. Lies for the better. So if after he saw the picture, he still doesn't want, most likely you just save yourself 4 hours of frustration. Or the other way around. If a person sends a picture, usually he will choose his best picture, no? Right? So if after sending your best picture, the guy still doesn't want, yes, it could be that the picture maybe it wasn't the real reality, yes. But most of the time, it will save both of them aggravation and waste of time. If the picture is modest, you know. The problem that we have today is that they don't only want picture of the face, these bachurim mekulkalim. They call themselves bachurei yeshiva. They're looking for a Barbie doll model. Skinny like the tripod. Yes. Listen, Moshe, it's no big deal. People can go on a diet, so she lose 10, 15 pounds. Not the end of the world, but she's a fantastic girl. Yes, but I know myself. No, I'm looking for a tripod, not for a woman. That's how dumb they are. I remember once Rav Ovadia Yosef Zatzal gave a speech about this, and he started to scream in the middle of the speech, Ele bachurei yeshiva, ele reshaim. He was talking about guys that force their girls to have long wigs, you know. I want you to go with the long wigs. I always like to tell the story about a girl, a daughter of a friend of mine. She went on few dates with some bachur yeshiva. I don't know who he is, I never saw him, I don't know who the guy is. She went up with him, I think, few times. And after everything looked perfect. She was a great girl, very religious, davening is davening, modesty, very good family, also very rich. Everything a man should look in a woman she had, this girl. Great midot, quiet, shy, not flashy and noisy, full of class. Unbelievable. Instead of dancing on the street, Hashem gave him such a date, he asked her, why are you not wearing high heels? He wants the twin towers. So she said to him, it's not modest. I'm never going to wear high heels. He said to her, no, it's important for me that my wife will wear high heels. זה בחור ישיבה. So he broke the shidduch because of high heels. So I say to someone who told me that story, how lucky this girl is that she got saved from that idiot. That's what he wants, his wife to go with high heels, that everyone looks at their legs. Just show you what kind of a lowlife he is. He calls himself Bachor Yeshiva. Who needs your Gemara Bichlal? Who are you fooling? You corrupted from the base. You fully corrupted. It's one thing, he say, I want her to be pretty. The Gemara say, the girl has to be pretty in your eyes. That's no problem. What's written, written. You can argue with the Torah. She's not pretty enough for me. A matter of taste. Nobody can force you to love someone. Okay. I want her tall, I want her short. Everyone with his taste. It's a part of the beauty. I want her too heavy, I want her skinny. I understand. But to start putting red lipstick and high heels and a wig all the way to the floor, that's already nothing to do with beauty. That's like to flash to the world that every man would look at her. That shows that you have no connection to Hashem. And your whole Gemara, it's fake. Everything about you is fake. One tiny things like this show who you are. That's why Rav Ovadia Yosef started to scream, Ele bachurei yeshiva, אלה רשעים! רשעים. Reshaim. And he was talking about someone who wanted wigs, not that his wife would walk without covered hair. He called them Reshaim. Why? Because that's what you care about? That's what you're going to lose the shidduch for something like this? That shows that you are empty. Everything about you is external. There's nothing inside. So if you're not going to change yourself from inside, then you come to the rabbi to cry when you're 40 years old, how come I didn't get married? How long your marriage would last with this kind of level in your mental state? How long? How long you will be in a relationship? 6 months? Hashem had mercy on you. He didn't let you go through the struggle and the divorce in a court. And those who get divorced, lo alenu, it's also a pandemic now. When they get divorced, they make another crime. Mosifim chet al pesha. One thing, most of the divorces is because of people's personality. They don't want to work on their personality. They disrespect each other. They take their frustration on each other. They do all kinds of things to each other until it ends in a war. So you decided to separate. Why can't you do it like a human being, like a Ben Torah? Why you have to take revenge? Why to write things against each other? Why to lashon hara non-stop between the families, court, secular court, marshal, sheriff, order of protection? Shame on you. People are such lowlifes. Religious. What kind of religious people are? You want to get divorced? You forgot who was the mother of your children, who took care of you for a few years? Just settle it. Go to some rabbi, sit, reach an agreement. Israelis and Arabs already reaching an agreement after hundreds of years. You cannot sit with someone that raised your children and get divorced like a normal human being. It's all about money and ego. She disrespected me. I'm going to show her. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Baloney. Why do you need to go to the court? Go to the rabbi, reach an agreement. Then you go and sign it by the court. That's how much it's going to pay. Some men think that by not giving money to the ex, they punishing her. They punishing their own children. I tell them, when you were married together, you had to feed your own children, no? You had to pay for the yeshivot. You have to pay for the rent, for the electric, for their clothing. It costs you $4,000 or $5,000. Why are you offering now $600-700 a month? How much is going to be? These kids will starve to death. I'm not going to give her a penny more. I'm only giving that because the court forced me. If it was up to me, I wouldn't give her any. But what about your children? He doesn't care. So here and him, they're using the children as hostage to get back at each other. I have a whole lecture about divorce only. How many mistakes, and people forget that Hashem is watching. It's all about revenge and ego. The same way you learn how to get married when it doesn't work, one of the 613 commandments is to get divorced, ונתן לספר כריתות, to get a get, to do it in a respectable way. One day you have to stand by the bar mitzvah, one day you have to stand by the chuppah. You don't want to end it be there. Plus, you have to know the men. Women are acting with emotions. 99% of their action comes from the heart. Right? It doesn't mean they're not smart. They're smarter than men. But when there is a conflict between the brain and the heart will always be dominant. So when women get hurt emotionally, two things will happen. One, very high chance that will go off the derech. They will stop being religious. I saw hundreds of cases like this. As soon as she got divorced, she's so hurt from what happened to her in a bed din and how he behaved and how Rabbi took his side, all kinds of things like this. So she's so burned from inside, she became completely like a Goya. She went with some Mexican, I don't know what happened, mother of religious with peot and beard. Unbelievable. Why? Because it's nothing to do with she doesn't believe in Hashem and this. It's the heart is so hurt that she does like an explosion and rebelling against the whole world. And if she didn't do that, she will turn the kids against you, that the kids will not even want to meet with you 1 minute a month. If a mother wants to do it, nobody knows better than her to do it. So you have to think a million times before you start a war, because you will always win or always lose the war. Yeah, maybe you get the money, but it's stupid. If you would need to buy a child, if you don't have kids, and they tell you now you have $10 million, and each child will cost you $1 million. Would you pay? Of course. Now they ask you pay your child support, that you can be in good relationship with your children, and she has no reason to turn the kids against you. So you're trying to save $2,000-$3,000 a month, and because of that, your children would not want to speak to you ever again. They're not going to want to meet with you. You're going to have to call the lawyer to arrange for your meeting with your kids that will help you. Why? Because all her pain, she will use it to turn the kids against you, and 9 out of 10 cases, that's what's going to be. So even to get divorced, you need to be educated. You can't just do whatever you feel like. You have to speak to smart people to give you an advice, not to just go by ordinary advice of people on the street. Be'ezrat Hashem, we should not get divorced. We should find good Shidduchim. I have few very good lectures about this topic. Many things that we did not mention tonight, you can find over there. Just put Rabbi Mizrachi, Shalom Bayit, peace in the family. I have a new app. Please download my new app, RabbiYosefMizrachi.org. You have all the lectures there, automatically goes, and you have it in fast speed. So a lecture like tonight, you can hear in 1 hour instead of 2 hours. Fast speed. Very good. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen ואמן. רבי חנניה בן הקשיא אומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות